low bidding contractors making up for profits by submitting change orders all the time. From what I have seen, just superficially looking at the paperwork, the district engages these change orders seriously. And the goal out of this thing, I will say, let me just quickly make the comment that there's only one committee meeting scheduled right now, and that's on this list that we got tonight, which is, and that's on Monday, September 8th at 3:30 p.m., and I think this is posted on the website, right? So that's the next one and only meeting. I suspect there'll be at least a meeting or two. I think our goals broadly is to bring greater clarity and precision and accuracy to how we look at change orders with what's going on in the district, and that begins with just more deeply understanding the change orders. And then after an understanding, then we can get into perhaps some interesting new displays or visuals that will help us understand that with greater clarity and so forth. So that's right now our broad goals, but if there's some other passionate folks around this rather emotional topic, I'd welcome anybody else to join the subcommittee. So.
I would be interested in doing it, but I couldn't meet till after 5.
And that's right now Norma's condition too. She's going to be participating through emails and other things, so we can look at other meetings, but if you have interest, it's good to know that.
I would like to.
That's a benefit of doing the ad hoc approach, is you have more flexibility of how you can inform people, so you can always be on the mailing list, which wouldn't be as practical as a standing committee.
Oh, one thing I wanted to ask Tom and the committee as a whole, I'm trying to reduce the amount of trees we're killing, all these meetings and all the paperwork. But the reason for all this information is because there have been a lot of questions and because there are things that we are just beginning to understand and to learn. So what I suggest, and I want the opinion of the committee, is that we do not request the copies of the change orders on a monthly basis from staff and allow the change order subcommittee to decide what it is that they want, and they can ask that directly from staff. So that would eliminate a lot of this paperwork. I will always request the project status report, and I believe everybody would like to continue to see that on a monthly basis. And am I correct in that? You all want to see that on a regular basis? What else did I want to get rid of? The KPI report we're going to continue to see because it's not very large. And I think those are the ones that we're seeming to get on a more regular basis. So project status report, change orders, no. KPI, yes. And that should at least reduce the amount of paperwork that we're dealing with.
Okay, are we on item B?
Okay, now we're up to Audit Subcommittee.
Change order?
Yes.
Yes. I would just like to make a suggestion, only because I've been looking at Helms, I'm not picking on them, but just because I was looking at that. In the change orders, when you see now, like with Helms, right now they're up to like $600,000 more than the original contract. If you look at the original bids, there were 2 other people that bid under that amount that didn't get it. Is there anybody taking book to see if these contractors are going over on a regular basis, or could you put them on a list? I mean, this guy's doing a sports field. You're going to have plenty of sports fields to do. Maybe if he's continually over budget by that much, you put him on a list and you don't use them. Or if an architect comes in and there are so many change orders because of the poor job the architect did, maybe you wouldn't want to use him again. Is anybody keeping track of this sort of thing? Or would you be interested in this?
District, just have a quick reaction.
Well, I have to tell you, Helms is really a bad example because we had contaminated soil. No matter who got awarded this project, the lowest bidder or the guy after him or after him, would have still had to deal with the same issue. Another example that we had a really bad change order rate is the North Valley detention basin, because the whole scope of that project was paving and grading and grading. So we said we had a bad soil. We ended up scrapping the whole site and then bringing in crushed aggregate and material to be able for us to finish this and have it ready to the next phase to be able to have the student occupy this campus comes August 18th. So these are just anomalies, and it would have been if the lowest contractor got it or not, it would have been if the highest contractor got it or not. So I hear what you're saying, it's a great point. It just, there's no guarantee if we would have given it to the second bidder, he would have still have to go
Yeah.
through the whole amount of change orders
Yeah.
that we've
Well,
got.
see, you have a rationale for why it's over, and it was a poor example. But I'm saying that in generally, if you just look at these things and you see that you have a contractor that
We
comes
do that
in,
all the time, and
Yeah.
actually, to answer your question, we have a pre-qualification process that will qualify the contractor that works for us. And one of the main criteria to disqualify a contractor, if they have bad performance, or they did not receive, or there was claims, or this and that. And we've been vetting all these contractors now.
Motion to extend.
really,
So we're gonna have to extend the meeting because we still have, well, the annual report and the order subcommittee. So, let's give it 15. A motion to extend the meeting 15 minutes. Second, all in favor?
That's you.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, let's go.
Okay,
All
I
right.
have a quick question.
Yes.
With, the change order committee and the cost control committee
We
work
have to
together?
establish the cost control committee.
But I'm saying, could they be one and the same?
I think they're gonna have different, tasks to
Oh.
perform.
Which is why you need to write out, have an omnibus declaration of what they do. It's written.
Yes, but that won't be till the next time. Calvin?
I just wanted to make a comment, just working for a contractor, contractors put plans and specs. That's whatever's in the plan, whatever's in the spec, that's what's included in the contract. It's not necessarily the contractor's fault if there are change orders. I always refer it back to the plans and specs. Whatever's in that document is included in the contract. That's what the contractor has to follow. If the architect or the consultants haven't included everything in the plans and specs, that's where the changes come. And so I do that just primarily because, I mean, contractors, we don't, I've bid a lot of contracts. I've bid a lot of work here at the school district. They actually have a very good contract. Well, it's a mean contract for contractors. Their scopes are very extensive. But I think they cover their bases on that, but it's still a matter of plans and specs. And so it falls back to the architects and the consultants. I find the biggest problem that you have architects that don't overlay the different plan sheets. And that's to find out that there are issues. I mean, before you had to actually take a piece of paper and just start at one end and work your way across it. Now it's just a matter of overlaying, which the architects don't do. And I'm not saying yours specifically, but as a whole, the architects don't fulfill their obligation, and I think they're the ones that should be held accountable for these things.
Okay, any other comments?
Just a quick question, is there an environmental impact study being done for soil testing? So that when you run into contaminated soil, that you've got the test done and you know what to do before you proceed?
Well, actually now,
Is it a
since
best
we have
practice
Helms,
standardized?
yes.
It is standardized and best practice?
Yes.
Okay, so we should not have any problem with soil contamination issues going forward?
Well, we will have problems if,
Yes or no?
like, for example, at Conference, we tore down the building and found out contaminated soil underneath the building. So, and we went through the Department of Toxic Substances to clear that up and delayed the project by several months, and it was a costly thing that was an unforeseen condition. So we have soils issues around here, and you know, when we went to do Coronado, we
Yeah,
found that it sat on the side of the old city hall, and there was a tank that had been taken off a steamship that was used to heat the city hall, and we had to deal with that. And the military base was there, and they dumped contaminants in the soil, and that's another thing that was underneath the building that we didn't know about. So these things come up, and it's just the nature
yeah,
about where we
I
live.
sympathize because when I was with aerospace down in Los Angeles, Rockwell and them, the stuff that they put in the ground, I don't even wanna tell you about, and land was sold that was built to shuttle,